What's up, guys? It's Hoodie 7 RCT bringing you another video for you guys, and today in another Unfiltered, this time Unfiltered 13, we're going to be talking a little bit about Stadia or Stadia. I think it's Stadia. The newly released info from the Gamers Developers Conference this year, 2019, where Google dropped that they're going to have their own gaming platform, let's call it that, because it's not a gaming console as we are used to seeing by the big three, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Now, why do I even bother covering this? Well, mainly because I feel, as a regular Joe consumer, this has, this has the effect, at least on me, of being something that I'm cautiously optimistic. And there's a reason for me having that stance, at least at this point in time, because remember, this is all just a promise that Google has made. There's still nothing physically as there as proof that what they offer is going to actually happen. However, there is promise, lots of it, lots of promise, but also lots of concern. And the concern comes in the way of, this is going to be a service. This is something that if it takes off, it could mean the end of how we consume video games, or have been consuming video games for quite some time. And I know what many of you are thinking, oh yeah, this is the same old thing. The same old thing happened to, when cell phones became popular and that gaming appeared, it was threatening to get rid of conventional gaming. And I would agree with you up to a point. That's true. There's always room when it comes to new ideas, new concepts, or even stuff that hasn't been done right the first time around. Like, let's say, for example, virtual reality, that for some reason it began like around the 80s and 90s. It didn't really materialize, it didn't really work at that time. Technology was not up to snuff to provide the experience, and now we're seeing better. It's not perfect, because as you can see, a lot of the big hitters have been trying at it and still haven't reached that mass market appeal. Granted, that's because there hasn't been a really killer app, something that'll bring the mainstream in, and of course, pricing. Now, if we take those two concerns, that killer app and the pricing, and apply it to this situation, we probably reach the same conclusion. There's plenty of potential, but if it blunders, or if you don't take those 2 points into consideration, then the whole thing is going to fall apart. Now, let's think about best case, worst case. On the best case scenario, this is Google, and they have tons of money, like everybody and their mother have been saying for quite some time. So if there's somebody who can weather little setbacks and stuff like that, is Google, no doubt about that. And Google so far has had a pretty good track record, Google Plus notwithstanding. Let's not even go there. But yeah, they have the deep pockets and they have the know-how, because they're really good at hiring really smart and sharp people to deal with stuff, products and services and stuff like that. Now, the whole way as the way how Stadia is supposed to work, to me, the hardcore, let's say, long time old fart gamer from yonder back in the 80s and stuff like that, it's something like I'm not so excited about it, because it takes away part of the appeal of why I became a gamer in the first place. And that's to have that new toy, let's call it that new console, that new sleek stuff, modern, that I'm getting the latest tech in my hands. that is something that you cannot have in the same way through a service, because a service is a service. It's something that you do not have ownership of. You do not have a physical evidence that, you know, in this case, the only thing you're going to be having around is the controller, and it's not the same thing. However, there is potential for this to become something, especially when you take into account that this platform is going to be available on every single thing. So if you have a tablet, if you have a phone, you're going to be able to play and not play limited. You're going to be able to play the top graphic intensive games, albeit streaming. And with streaming, the problem that arises from that is the tendency to have a lot of lag, input lag. And when you're playing an RPG or something like that, it might not be that obvious, but playing other types of games that require pinpoint accuracy and stuff like that, that could become a problem. Now, best case scenario, it becomes a success. Google is heralded as, you know, the next big thing, and then you see the other companies, the big three, trying to race and make up for not being first there, and trying to adopt and change their way of doing things to this more successful platform or style of doing things. That could bring the change, and like I mentioned, the end of gaming as we know it. It'll turn into something else, something much more different than what we guys are used to. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I don't know. I really can't say how I feel about that possibility. But again, this is extremes. Let's say extreme success and it works out and everything is, that could happen. Worst case scenario, it becomes a fad like a lot of other things that have come and gone. But it could also, even if it's not successful, it can pave the way for other people to try it in a different manner. It's still too soon. We still do not know, because we have information, but we don't have the complete picture. It's supposed to release this year. And to go briefly, because I've talked about how I feel about the platform, but I haven't mentioned what the platform is. The platform is essentially that controller you see here in the back. No, this side. Over here. That controller has Wi-Fi, and that controller will connect to the console here, or the platform is going to be Google's databases. All the games from all the developers are going to be running in those servers over there. You know, they mentioned some specs, hardware specs, something around 10 teraflops, which is more, you know, stronger than the Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro combined and all that. That's really nice. I'm not really impressed by it, because most of the graphics cards, even mid-range, can hit that amount. But it is above console specs, so that's kind of good. It gives like a little bit of confidence that the games we're going to be seeing there are going to be like cutting edge and stuff like that. And the way they're going to allow you to play is the controller is going to be basically the hub. It's going to be the main thing that's going to control everything. If you want to play on the TV, you put on a Chromecast to the TV, and the controller is going to connect straight to the game that the Chromecast is going to be providing signal for. If you want to play on a tablet, same thing. You connect the controller to the tablet. It's going to look for the game signal, and it's going to connect, and you're going to be able to play. Same thing on PC. Although on PC they do offer an option of you using whatever controller you use to play your games on PC. You can use those. However, the main appeal, at least what Google says, is having this controller, because this controller will give you some other features like jumping into YouTuber stream to play with the person streaming or whatever, which is something that they put a lot of emphasis in, is to kind of like fusion the gaming aspect with the streaming aspect. You know, the streamers out there like Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that, where you go ahead and stream and stuff, make it much more interactive. Again, this is all to be seen once it launches. There's no word on pricing. If you're gonna basically pay a monthly bill and get access to all the games, or if you're gonna have to pay for each game, which I wouldn't see the logic in that, because you're not gonna download. That's another thing. There's not going to be any installs because there's no hardware. There's not going to be any games in your collection. Just like you're going to have just like basically a playing list, like let's say a viewing list would be in Netflix or Hulu or something like that. That's what it seems like it's going to be as of right now. So I'm going to have to leave it up here in the air. I basically wanted to communicate that, yeah, I noticed this happening, and I'm basically optimistic but very cautiously. Let's see what happens. In the event where it launches, I'll be back with a second part of this with a follow-up and let you guys know how I really feel and what possibilities for a gamer like me and you. What does this mean? Is this gonna change the way we play games? Is it gonna matter at all, or is it just gonna be a little blip on the radar? Stay tuned, guys. Let's see what goes on. That's gonna be all for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please like and subscribe. And of course, one more little thing, let me add it down here. Please check it out. Check this collection, t-shirts and cups and stuff like that from the RCT brand, and also from Nora's Life at 40. You're gonna be able to check her line out as well. So that's gonna be all for now, guys. I'll check you guys later. Peace.
You